He was the one man I trusted, the only man. My heart leapt as I watched him ride near. I could barely wait to feel the warmth of his touch.
Earlier this week, we talked about one of the darker and more infamous productions in cinema history, Werner Herzog's Fitzcarraldo, a shoot where multiple people died around the set, and a tribal war broke out in the Peruvian jungle. Tonight, we're going to talk about a much more light and silly film, Robert Zemeckis' Romancing the Stone, an adventure rom-com starring Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, and Danny DeVito. Although the film takes place in Colombia, where Kathleen Turner is romantic but tragically single novelist Joan Wilder has to rescue her sister from kidnappers, shooting happened much closer to Hollywood in Veracruz, Mexico. As it was a location shoot, there were incidents, such as an animal trainer working with the kidnappers Ira and Ralph's alligators, who ended up losing a hand.
Thank you.
And a mudslide, which the camera crew managed to dodge, but some crew members had to be pulled out of.
And it rained, and the fourth day we were very lucky. We had a pretty major mudslide, and we had just moved our camera about 15 feet down, and half the hill had come down.
Oh my word.
Enormous rock. It would have been a real disaster. As it was, Kathleen got caught under it. A lot of people got caught up to their waist, and a couple people got buried.
But nothing like the violence and disease-filled shoot of Fitzcarraldo. Diane Thomas, who wrote Romancing the Stone, was a waitress at the Coral Beach Cantina. She was waitressing in Malibu as her screenplay caught the attention of several studios, with Columbia Pictures buying it and then 20th Century Fox making the actual film. Although Diane Thomas had worked on the screenplay starting in 1978, by the time she got it sold, Indiana Jones had come out. In fact, Temple of Doom and Romancing the Stone both opened in 1984. The fast-paced action, comedy, and adventure serial-like story reminded many critics of Indiana Jones. Thomas's career was extremely short-lived, and she was hired by Steven Spielberg after Romancing the Stone became popular in theaters to work on the film Always. The film will be released in 1989, but by then, Diane Thomas had been dead for 4 years, killed in a car accident a year after Romancing the Stone came out.
And as a gift to her, I bought her a Porsche, bought her a new Porsche car. The difficult thing was the last time that I saw Diane was she came over to show me the new car that I got her, and I think it was 3 weeks later she got killed in the Porsche. She had a boyfriend at the time. I think he was an ex-stunt man he was actually driving, but she always kind of liked those kind of Jack Colton characters in real life, and unfortunately had an accident down on Pacific Coast Highway, and we lost her much too young.
Michael Douglas was both the male lead of the film and the producer, although many other actors, including Sylvester Stallone, Burt Reynolds, Clint Eastwood, and Paul Newman had been considered. Douglas by then had mostly done TV appearances, small movie appearances, but was best known as the prestigious producer of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which he had purchased from his father, the screen legend Kirk Douglas. Kathleen Turner, who was known at the time for films like Body Heat as a hard and sultry sex symbol, her deep voice and gorgeous looks made her perfect for neo-noir type roles, which is the opposite of the innocent, lonely, and kind of pathetic Joan Wilder, who excels at writing erotic novels but has no love life of her own. She lobbied hard to show she had a softer side for this role. Romancing the Stone combines the serial adventure fun of Indiana Jones with elements of earlier films like The Maltese Falcon. The 80s were, of course, a great time for adventure films aimed at younger audiences, for movies like The Never-Ending Story and Princess Bride to The Goonies. Romancing the Stone, although PG, was aimed at an older audience and leans heavily on the classic rom-com tropes while also providing a big dose of adventure, with a treasure map, a search for a buried stone, and car chases. Romancing the Stone was not expected to do well. After Fox executives saw an initial cut of the movie, they fired Robert Zemeckis from Cocoon, the next project he was set to work on, which he had developed himself. However, upon the release, Romancing the Stone got largely positive reviews from critics and netted $115 million at the box office. This allowed Zemeckis to make his long-awaited screenplay, Back to the Future.
These were Italian.
Now they're practical.